Hello and welcome. My name is Vanessa Matthews and I have been invited to moderate the discussion today because of my background in process consulting and change consulting for both some quite well-known multinationals and brand names, but also a lot of really exciting high-growth startups. I was naturally intrigued by Vita Wade's ambition to look at the equitable partnerships across the blue economy, and in particular, look at those organisations that are supporting young entrepreneurs and innovation across the Caribbean. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my two guests, and I'm sure I won't be able to do as much justice as they can, but I know that we've got Selwyn, Cambridge from the founder and driving force behind 10 Habitat, and Nikola Simpson, who is the head of Accelerator Lab. Is that right? Please tell us more about yourselves.
Oh, certainly. I'll let Nikola go first.
Okay.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Selwyn. So yes, my name is Nikola Simpson, and I am head of what we call the Accelerator Lab for the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, for Barbados and the Caribbean. And what the Accelerator Lab is, it's actually a network of 60 labs around the world, soon expanding to 90 labs that are working on different development challenges. The focus of our lab here in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean is on the blue economy, because this is a topic of both national and regional interest, significance, and importance. So that's a bit about me and my role at UNDP currently with relation and in regards to innovation, entrepreneurship, and supporting innovators specifically in the blue economy. Thank you, Selwyn.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me, Vanessa, and always good to see you, Nikola. My name is Selwyn Cambridge. I'm the executive director and founder of 10 Habitat, which is actually a nonprofit that has been set up in Barbados to service the entire Caribbean to identify innovative ideas, convert them into investor-ready ventures. And we tend to work with the Caribbean diaspora to mobilize them to invest in these ventures and help them scale. We also run a hybrid accelerator, which is an 8-month program that takes entrepreneurs and their ideas and move them from idea to investor ready in 8 months, along with running an innovation lab and a co-working space in Barbados.
Thank you both. And I'd like to find out obviously a lot more about the sort of work that you're doing, but just to bring things back a little bit, I mean, you know, marine life is such a central part of the Caribbean, and yet the blue economy still feels like quite an enigma. Why do you think that is, Nikola?
Yeah, I think it is still a concept that, as you said, feels like an enigma. It might be difficult to understand. There might be some ambiguity surrounding it. So the concept of the blue economy is not new to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean region, but the term blue economy is something that is a lot newer. And I think that's where the enigma kind of comes in. I mean, we are an island, a region surrounded by water. We have a history deeply rooted in the blue economy. But I think, you know, the lack of awareness on what the blue economy is contributes to this. So for example, in Barbados and in the region, we have a specific definition of what the blue economy is, and every country has that definition. But for me, I think it's better when you help to explain it, and the average person on the street can see, oh yes, I'm linked to the blue economy. It's fisheries. I eat fish. This dress that I have on may have come on a ship to the region. That's the blue economy. The blue economy is waste management. It's me using my reusable bottle. So I think when we start to break down what it is, people then will better understand it, and they will learn that, you know, really our lives surround the ocean, and the ocean protects and supports us. So, you know, there is the definition that the blue economy is how we look to our ocean for wealth. It's how we look at diversifying the economy. It's how we're looking at job creation, livelihoods. It really looks at what we call the triple bottom line of sustainable development. So it looks at the social, economic, and environmental elements. But I think once we start to show the average person what it really means to them, this oxygen that we're breathing, that's the blue economy. If you have an uncle that fishes, that's the blue economy. how you dispose of your waste. That's the blue economy. That I think will help show the significance of the ocean and the blue economy to our island life and our way of living in the region and in small island development states.
Selwyn, anything more to add?
Yeah, I mean, Nikola very aptly summarized what it is, but it's something that we've always been doing. Simply, we've just added a label to it now, and of course, you know, I guess there's a blue economy, there's a green economy, there's the orange economy, and there's all these colors that can oftentimes get muddled. But really and truly, the blue economy is directly connected to what are the oceans, fisheries, and how they all interlinked, and the fact that, you know, we're islands surrounded by water. We've been functioning in the blue economy forever. What we've just done now is started to look at, okay, how can we actually put real economic structure to this, and how can we start to innovate within that space to foster more linkages that make sense.
Yes, absolutely. And so given that it's not new, but there's this kind of this heightened awareness, have you seen that impact the kind of entrepreneurial appetite? How has this kind of focus on blue economy impacted the type of entrepreneurs you're seeing come through in the Caribbean?
Well, I mean, for 10 Habitat, I don't think it's necessarily contributed to a change in entrepreneurship or a heightened level. I believe that what it's allowed entrepreneurs to do is to just more or less refine their focus to where the opportunities are because of the blue economy's popularity now. There's a lot of support and funding that's been put behind it. So entrepreneurs that have traditionally been functioning in what could be construed as the blue economy are now starting to refine their focus to ensure that, one, they are hitting all of the necessary, you know, key areas or focal points that allows them to become exposed and access increased resources and funding.
Nikola, anything?
Yeah, sure. I definitely agree with that in many ways, and that I think, you know, the blue economy now is being seen as an opportunity. It's a buzzword. There's interest in it. There's appetite both at a government national policy level, but also, you know, from a private sector level. And from what I've seen from my experience, I think it's just showing innovators and entrepreneurs that they are potential opportunities, and maybe they were already kind of working in this space. But for example, for us here at the lab, you know, we're looking for an app developer. An app developer may not have specifically thought when they started out their career that they may have been building an app on gamification for climate change or for the blue economy. So I think, and especially under a COVID context, I think what's changed or shifted is that innovators have had to pivot slightly, and they've had to move towards where there's interest and investment. And I think that follows on, you know, from Selwyn's point. And I think what's also important, Selwyn touched on it, there's a blue, a green, an orange. I think that's another opportunity with the blue economy, is that really we're trying to bring all of the different sectors together and stop operating in silos and really convening all partners. And I think that filters into innovation and entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah, we chatted about this a little bit beforehand. You're making me think about a conversation we just had about just general innovation. So really you are looking to speak to you know, innovators and encourage that lens towards the blue economy, or as you said, not sort of working in silo, but working across different sectors. Would you say that you know, those innovators are truly appreciating the opportunities within the blue economy?
I think, just building off of your point and what we discussed before, just that culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in the region, and maybe how COVID has even impacted that. It's maybe catalyzed what some people wanted to do, or it's pushed them to do things or do them in a different way because now they had to do that. I think Selwyn can also speak to this better, as you know, he has more experience and expertise in the startup entrepreneurship ecosystem space. But I do think that some innovators, which is what we call them here at the lab, are appreciating that interest in the blue economy. They're appreciating that there are opportunities in the blue economy. It could be for coding, and Selwyn can also speak to that more. You know, we're also trying to bring gender into the new emerging sectors, the technology base sectors within the blue economy as well. You can have young girls that code, and that they might be helping us to build something that then can be used to share in schools and in the Caribbean, that allow youth to then understand, oh, this is what the blue economy is. And as they get older, maybe there might be a profession for me. I don't need to be a fisherman or fisherwoman. I might not need to be in waste management or renewable energy, but maybe I can be in tech, or I can be an entrepreneur. I can invest in these potential solutions. But I think maybe Selwyn might wish to add a bit more of that, and he might have a slightly different perspective on it as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with Nikola, but also if we were to step back and just look at this from a broader context, right? We talk a lot about innovation, but very realistically, it's important to understand, and this has always been a bugbear of mine, that the Caribbean region has often lagged behind in terms of the global innovation index, right? So though we are a very creative and innovative people, we've never really taken that and channeled it in a way that adds to the growth of industry. And as they say, the old adage, necessity is the mother of invention. COVID and the pandemic has led to the need to innovate, because now you're confronted with a global shutdown of tourism industries. Now you've got to rethink tourism. You've got to rethink how you look at tourism. And the blue economy provided a perfect gateway into examining traditional industries, traditional ways of doing things, and how can we start to reimagine those things that we've always done, but start to connect them in other non-traditional ways, right? And because it's so top of mind now, and there's a lot of emphasis being placed on the blue economy, there are a lot of innovation funds, there are a lot of innovation competitions that are being put forward that is also helping to spark the level of innovation around the blue economy. And I think it's a really exciting time. I've always been saying, never allow a crisis to go to waste. And if we look at this from that perspective, we've got a fantastic opportunity to turn COVID on its head and have it become a catalytic event that drives innovation across the region.
It's exactly, what we were touching on before.